Welcome to the Beast Within. I'm your host, Aaron Saltzman. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, or share this with somebody you love because we're going to be dropping knowledge that can honestly help you guys get light years ahead on your journey to ultimately really reaching your fullest potential. If you're listening right now, there's a good chance you've battled the lone wolf beast. The lone wolf beast is the I can do everything by myself, the relentless drive to avoid asking for help so no one will do it as well as you. It feels like strength, but in reality, it's a trap. You're putting a ceiling on the places that you can go with success. Today's guest knows this beast firsthand. He's one of my closest buddies, and to be honest, I'm a little nervous. Why? Not nervous to run this podcast. I'm nervous because this man has so many accolades that I don't want to forget any. So, Taylor was a Division 1 scholarship athlete, a sprinter, a sport where you literally are racing alone. That lone wolf mentality was something that was built through years of training solo, relying on only himself to cross that finish line. And while it helped him dominate on the track and getting further and further to almost making the Olympics, it followed him throughout his life in his career, business, leadership, and in all souls of life that actually held him back to accomplishing some of the things that he wanted to accomplish. Now, at this point, he's the owner of one of the top gyms in LA where he's trained professional athletes in the UFC, the WNBA, and the X Games. He knows what it takes to push to the next level, not just physically, but mentally. And he's learned that peak performance isn't about doing everything yourself. It might have worked for him one day, but at this point, he had to put that aside in order to get to the point that he's at today. I want to welcome in one of my closest buddies and one of the highest accomplishments and known to man that I have been honored to experience. My boy Taylor Ezra.
What's going on, Aaron? Thank you so much for bringing me on. I'm stoked, and damn, my head just got a little big.
Honestly, man, it's been amazing to watch you as the years that I've known you. I've known you since, so taking us back a little bit, me and Taylor met on a birthright trip to Israel, and we connected immediately because we both had the mentality and the fitness journey behind it. But we've stayed very close up to this point to getting us to a point of being able to piggyback off of each other. And so I brought you on this podcast today because I want all the listeners to understand that even somebody that has the accolades like you suffer from some of these beasts itself. So the beast that I want to tackle is the lone wolf, the do-it-yourself beast. And I want to start today off with a quote that hits hard for me. And that quote goes, and I'm going to try to get this right on the first attempt. The quote goes, if you want to go fast, do it by yourself. If you want to go far, do it together. And that quote to me speaks extreme value in a sense of, especially coming from somebody in the athletic world, you know what it means to be a team, right? If you're running an ultra marathon, you're going to do that ultra marathon a lot better if you're handing the baton off to somebody versus running that thing by yourself. So how has that affected you, and what maybe has it held you back from achieving by being that lone wolf?
Yeah, so a big part of my journey in athletics was first it started off with basketball, so very much a team sport, and it's also led by a coach. But as I got into track and field and started sprinting, it technically is a team sport, but you're doing individual events. And that was in college, so you are a team, but you are still trying to be that best person on the team. You want the school records, you want all of that, and you're trying to be that best person possible on the team. And after I finished college athletics is kind of this space where I was in the unknown. I kind of had a coach. He was trying to push me into the next level, but I didn't know where to go. And that's where I actually was pretty much by myself. My dad had coached me for a little bit. I've honestly never done anything on that front athletically 100% by myself, but training alone, hey, go do this, it's only me doing it, right? And that was difficult. You have to have a different kind of mentality to really push forward with those types of things. But it taught me to be really diligent and see the goal myself and try to always attain and do the things necessary to reach those goals.
Yeah.
So going from athletics of running the 400 meters and translating that into life, I did a lot of things where I needed to do the research. I needed to figure out things myself. I needed to try to implement myself. I needed to figure out what was the best practices. And I'm not a professional at any of those things, especially as you step into the business world, right? So you're stepping into a phase of unknowing, and I still had this DIY attitude of like I can get everything done myself. But in actuality, I was holding myself back from swallowing my ego and saying I need help with something that can accelerate me. And the minute that I did that and reached out, massive growth automatically, because there's other professionals out there that have taken the steps, have implemented things, and seen the success. Where I'm on Google, I'm on YouTube, I'm reaching out to friends, just trying to figure things out and piece them together rather than just getting a roadmap right away.
And I think that's exactly where the DIY beast hits the hardest is it puts in your head this feeling of I got this. I can handle it by myself. Like they can't do it as good as me. Nobody's gonna care about my business or for instance, I mean, let's say you're running a sport, and I'm going to give a completely different metaphorical sport, but if you're the athlete that we claim to be, you want the ball in your hands at all times, right? You want to take the final shot. You trust yourself more than you trust your teammates. And so I feel like as we get further along in life, this DIY, this do-it-yourself beast, is where it really holds you back from reaching that full potential. So in your business, what are some things that you've had to step aside? What are some things that you had to pass off in order to actually grow the business instead of hinder the business?
The biggest thing is learning that it's not, I'm a coach and I'm running a business now, and actually learning the business side of things. That was the biggest thing, because I didn't go to school for business. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to do an LLC at the time, right? I had to learn all of that. And then it came down to like the marketing and things like that. But the one thing that I really had to let go to see the growth in the business was not to be on the floor coaching all the time, because that is not something that's going to grow the business. I need to be doing the outreach. I need to be connecting with people outside of who we are as a community already so we can grow the community.
Mhm.
And that was step one, because step one allocated more time for me to learn from mentors, to implement things that they wanted me to do to work on the business rather than being in the business.
Dope.
And that's where that lone wolf or the DIY really comes in, is because if you think you can do everything, you're wearing all the hats. Well, those hats are really small, can't get a lot done,
Yep.
and you're going to run out of steam and bandwidth. And I started to hit that breaking point, and I bought books and started implementing. I'm like, you know what, this is working. Let me reach out to them to see what they can really help me with. And the minute I did that, it doubled revenue.
And that's spot on, guys. So what I want you guys to understand is it's very true that everybody has 24 hours in a day, right? That is a fact. And some people implement those 24 hours better than others, but the reality is you still only have 24 hours. And so it's very crucial that you need to delegate work to make those 24 hours more productive for you. What are you good at? What are your skill sets? Let me use these skill sets to my optimal potential so that way it can stop holding me back. His boy, so he signed with this company called GymCon, and GymCon has been helping him establish his business and do those things that he didn't go to school for. Like we mentioned, marketing, right? Growing your business and learning to utilize that as working on your business instead of in your business. So Alex Hermosi is the creator and founder of GymCon, and he said one of his quotes. He said that uh, in order to get your first 10K, you work hard. In order to get your first 100K, you work smart. In order to get your first million, you hire people to work harder and smarter than you. And so, is that kind of the notion that you had or the mindset you had when you brought on GymCon to help establish you as a better entrepreneur?
Partly, I would say. So when I got with Gym Launch, it was because I got the book Gym Launch Secrets, and I started implementing things that was in the book, and it grew the gym. It made us a little extra revenue, but I didn't know how to implement everything properly, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, they have the system. Let's get the system. And it was about implementing things I just literally didn't know. I didn't know business. They knew how to run a business and be profitable as a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And gyms are probably one of the least profitable businesses out there because of the way that they're run by the owners who have the dream of just, I want to have a gym,
Mm-hmm.
right? Does not work very well. But if you want to live a life where you're impacting multiple lives, you have to find somebody that can help you do that, right? So that was Gym Launch for me, and now I've learned so much from them and the business side of things, and letting go that I don't need to do all this myself and research. They've done it already,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we just implemented right away. And then I had guidance. I had a coach to reach out to, and that's super valuable too. So my brick and mortar Rise Athletics LA is who we used, but I've also hired multiple mentors for my online program too, and it's because online's a different beast, right? Like,
You know?
it's just finding ways to implement knowledge. So, yeah, you're going to work really hard to get to your first 10K, to get to your first 100K. And I don't know if we're talking months or years or what, but it doesn't matter. Like, making your first 10K any type of way, you can hustle and grind it. Like, sort of like Gary Vee and what he does for the like garage hustles, right? Getting to 100K, you can do it by just grinding, but it's going to be a lot of work, and you might not make it because you run out of the time capacity in that 24 hours like you were talking about,
Yeah.
because you don't know how to implement certain things that would accelerate your time efficiency, right? And that's a big thing too. And then the million, everybody's working on that. I'm not there yet. I would love to get there, but that is literally creating the team that does the things that you know need to be implemented, but they are better at it and quicker at it than you. And that's where you really have to swallow your pride and be like, like, I'm not the best at this. Let me find somebody who is, and you start creating this team that's going to take everybody there. So it is the team. You can't do it alone. You can go pretty far alone. You can do it fast, but you're going to hit a cap.
Yeah, and I think you said it best when it comes to pride. I think that's something that we all have, especially when it's your baby, right? It's something that you're building, and you have pride and ego. And ego can be beneficial, especially when you're a high performing athlete. But in the business world and in the world of self improvement, I have found that ego actually is uh, an acronym for ending growth opportunity.
Mm.
And so, with that ego in mind, how are you able to put that aside? How are you able to go from the professional athletic Taylor to handling everything on that track to I am now metaphorically going to hand off that baton to other people?
It was literally just a reality check. I
Okay.
just realized that I had a roadblock. There was no growth. And it's the same thing in athletics. Like, how good can you really be without somebody fine tuning your art of the game?
Hmm.
So once you hit your growth potential, I don't care what it is. If it's sports, if it's your own business, if it's just art, if it's a project, like, there's going to be a point where you reach diminishing returns. And if you're not able to recognize that happening, or if you really think you're going to break through and you haven't in 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, come on now, right?
Hmm.
And that's a great acronym that the growth's going to stop. So I would say it took me a little bit. I mean, I have my dad who's my partner in the gym too, so we're wary and we run things by each other. So there's that double thought process of like, is this good? And if we're both scared, well, guess what? The trigger's not going to get pulled. But eventually, I was like, you know what? No, let's do it. If it doesn't work, we tried.
And
Right?
that's how I it's like if it doesn't work, then guess what? You go right back to where you were at, right? And so it's like, why not give it that extra shot? Why not allow that ego to come down? And for me, when it comes to the lone wolf beast or the do it myself beast, the thing I ran into was burnout. Right. So when I was the one cleaning the gym, when I was the one doing all my marketing, when I was the one wearing every single hat of the gym while trying to grow myself as a person, grow myself into running this podcast, how did that affect you? How did burnout really sink in? Make you want to quit? What are some tools that you utilized to tame that?
That is really good because I think any phase of life you're going to reach that cap multiple times. For me, there was a really big point in my life almost 2 years ago where I was ready to just drop everything and kind of like restart. That's a long other conversation to be had, but basically I got to the point where I was just like, no, this isn't worth it for me. I'm not doing me. I'm not taking care of me. And that was what I realized with burnout is if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not if it's fitness for you, if it's reading a book, if it's music, you need to have something that you do. And this is actually what I do with a lot of my clients is the fact that you need to give back to yourself so you could give to others, right? So burnout can definitely be avoided if you are taking the time to slow things down for yourself so you can actually recuperate, regenerate, to give back to others. So the past year and a half, I've done a really good job of actually doing that. So for me, fitness kind of died. Lifting weights wasn't working. Running wasn't really working. My mountain bike was like what did it for me. Getting a dirt bike did it for me. So those were my outlets. But then I didn't get to do them as much, right? And now, transparently, I'm running a brick and mortar gym. I have an online program too, and I'm doing a lot, probably more than I should. But I've allocated time blocks to give back to myself and then my family too. That's super important. So who's rooting for you and always going to be in that corner for you? Those people you need to give back to as well, because if they're always giving to you, you can't just take.
Yeah.
And I think I got to that point where I was just like so ingrained with the work that I was doing that I was just taking the support that they were giving me and not giving back to them. So to not reach burnout, it's really about slowing things down a little bit, acknowledging how far you've come, knowing that you can still progress forward, but taking that moment to stop and serve yourself and serve your supporters, because if you lose your supporters, you're pretty close behind to losing yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that you guys understand that if somebody as an elite athlete like Taylor had reached that burnout phase, you're going to run into that wall. That do-it-yourself beast is going to bring you to that point. Because, I mean, he trained to be one of the highest athletes in the world. And in order to do that, you have to have a hell of a mindset and a hell of a physical a body in order to do so. So he spent his whole life training for this and still reached that sign of burnout. And so that's what the do-it-yourself beast can do if you don't start to try to find ways around it. And so that's what I want to give now to the next step is I want to go over maybe tools that we can tangibly give people in order to tame this beast. And the first one I want to start with is delegating tasks. How did you go about that? Is there people in your life? Did you hire people? What did you do in order to delegate?
Yeah, so I would say from the I do want to reiterate something you did bring up was reaching burnout or wanting to quit, right? Because even in athletics, I reached a point where I was this close to quitting, and I had reached out to somebody to get into a group so I would have more support.
That's it.
And sometimes it's patience, because it was just a waiting game. It was either going to happen or it wasn't. And the week that I was literally thinking about quitting was when the person I reached out to finally reached back to me, but like on a Friday. So all week I was thinking about quitting, and then I got that phone call. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's gonna be rough times where like you're at that breaking point, but no, it's like that meme where the guy's going for the diamond and stops, and that next guy just does 2 more axe throws and gets it.
And that's actually on point. So on the last podcast, we said, that pressure makes diamonds, but when you're actually doing the work, it just feels like pressure.
Yeah.
And so he was under so much pressure that it almost got him to the point of quitting. And look what happened. If he would have just struck 2 more times, he would have found the diamond. Yeah. And so I love that. I think that's actually one of my notes that I want to give. One of the tools that I want to give is finding a community and finding other people to surround yourself with that will help you. And what does that look like for you? Where did you go for that community, or did it find you?
So I would say it was both, right? So if we go back to the business side of like delegation or hiring or all that, like I created the community of coaches that I needed to support me in the business ventures that I wanted, right? Because I literally can't wear all the hats. And I recognized that when I was reading certain books. Then to find the community that actually supports you is like this right here, right? So we met,
a long time
6 years now. Yeah. It's been 6 years. Are we always connected? No. But can we reach out, reconnect like nothing ever happened, and just start back right up again? Yeah, that's what you need to look for. It's not somebody that's sitting in your corner and following you around all the time. It's somebody that you know has your back and is going to be there when you need them. It's not something that always needs to be right then and there. And there's going to be some people that do need to be right then and there. And that's my like closer knit, immediate circle of like family, like my wife or playing with my daughter, those types of things,
Correct.
Right? So the support system is huge. If you don't have that, find something or somewhere that you feel at home with. This could be a run club or going to play pickleball or just going to the beach and meeting some people. And obviously I'm saying lots of things fitness oriented, but it doesn't need to be. Go to the library, join a book club, like just something where you're around people that like something of interest that you like, because you'll have a commonality. You'll learn something from them that you might not recognize in that moment in time, and then you could learn from them, and you'll feel supported with some other things that might crop up outside of whatever that is.
And I love that right there is finding people that you feel have maybe the same interests as you, maybe are like-minded like you, or just make you feel secure in knowing that if you need to ask for help, you can ask for help, knowing that they will do a good job, that they care about you. And so one of the tools necessary is build that community. Build that community of people who you can trust, that if you do delegate something to them, or even just need to release some things, right? Because that's the money shot right there. It's like, sometimes you just have so much stress on having all the hats or taking on everything yourself. You just need somebody to just relay it to and be like, look, this is how I'm feeling. And now they can break it down for you. Now they can give you cues, or you get a different perspective. And so the do-it-yourself beast not only has you doing it yourself, it also has you mentally fighting this fight alone.
Oh.
And so there is allowing the fight to not just be your own, and bringing on people who you can trust.
Yeah, and this goes with anything in life, and I think that's the thing that is literally asking for support and asking for help. I still struggle with asking for help. I've tried to be better with it now. At least in the business world, I'm not afraid to do it at all anymore. And personally, it's still tough because you're surrendering something that you feel is wrong with you, right? And when you get a solid support system, it doesn't feel like that. It's just getting support. Yeah.
And especially also have that support of people that you trust and that you care about. Now ego's not in the way, right? It's such a difficult thing for me to relay that I have made mistakes, that I'm failing, that I'm not doing good enough, that I'm not holding my own weight. And so if I'm trying to bring that to somebody that I don't trust, I'm not going to relay that information. I'm going to hold that to myself. And there's that inner beast again that's holding everything in, right? So remind yourself that the surrounding of people that you have is huge, and don't take it lightly. Like, literally go in and look at the people that you have around you, right? And decide, are these people helping me? Are they helping me grow? Are they helping me tame this inner beast? Or are they actually making me feel more self-conscious, right? Am I surrounding myself with people that make me feel awful about myself, that maybe I can't open up to? And so I think it's really important to realize who is in your inner circle and make demands on yourself to fix it if it's actually holding you back and not.
Right before this, we literally just ran almost 5 miles together. And part of those conversations was us checking each other. Yep. And like having that hard conversation that we might not want to hear, but it's to help each other grow.
Absolutely.
And not a lot of people get that. Like, and that's why I appreciate our friendship so much, because we'll have those conversations. You've experienced things that I haven't in my business, and vice versa, right? So we can share experiences and build off of each other. And a real friend, a real support system is going to share the good and the bad.
Yeah, I think that's it. Do an audit on your circle, right? And so that's what I've done. I only surround myself with people who want to actually first see me succeed, right? Because if I come to somebody that doesn't want me to succeed, they're going to give me bad advice, or they're going to give me no advice, right? And so they're going to say, dude, fuck that. Let's go out. Let's have a drink. Let's party. Like, you know what I mean? And so doing a legit audit on your circle and find out who is with you, who is against you, who can you trust, who can you not, who's holding you back, and who's actually helping you accomplish these inner beasts that you're facing yourself. So just reiterating on the 4 tools necessary that people can work on is find your community, open up to them, trust them, delegate work. I think that's a really important one. I think that without delegating, you're going to bury yourself in a hole that you cannot climb out of until you start to pass that baton and start to ask for help. Audit your circle. I mean, this is the thing, this quote hits so hard for me. In order to become the person you want to become, you have to kill the person that you are today. And although it seems super aggressive, which it kind of is, it's so true. And unfortunately, the person you are today is the environment of the people that you surround yourself with, right? You are the environment. So if you're putting yourself in a negative place, that's what you are, right?
And to put a little on that too, because I think people might assume like you're becoming this brand new person when you kill off this other one. But in reality, that old person that you're killing off and this new person that you are still includes some of what you are. It's the lessons and what you've learned and cultivated them into something that's actually positive. Because that quote I love too, but it's your growth into this new person and losing the the parts of you that don't serve you. That's what you're losing. That's what you're killing.
100%. Which I wholeheartedly agree that the environment of that you surround yourself is the portion that's holding you back. And so that is something that we have to change. We have to be able to adapt to killing off some of those friendships that we have that maybe aren't serving us, or maybe aren't taking you to the place of your fullest potential and keeping you stuck. And so I think that is a very hard tool for many people, because your friends become your family. It's people you see every day. It's people you hold your conversations with. And so it's really hard to disconnect from that. And you feel like you are losing who you are, which in all terms you kind of are, right? But I think that's the mission, is surround yourself with like-minded people. Like he said, we don't spend a lot of time together, but we're always rooting for each other, right? I always connect with him if I'll shout out something if I think something, right? He'll shout out something to me. He'll give me pointers, vice versa. We meet on things like this here today. And so for me, this is authentic friendship, and this is what is going to propel you further. I have so many friends that they don't want to see you succeed, right? And so, and it's just because of where they're at.
Yeah,
and
they only want to see you do just as good as them.
Exactly, 100%. And so the tool number 3 is hits the hardest for me, is the environment, and make sure to audit your environment and what is affecting you with these friendships. The last one goes back into delegation, but it's finding out what you're good at. Utilize the tools that you are good at. Like he said, he didn't go to school for marketing. He didn't go to school on how to run a facility or a gym. So find out what your strong suits are, utilize that to your benefit, and then hire a team or bring on people who are masters at their craft and utilize them. So those are your 4 tools that I want you guys to utilize. What is one thing that you can come up with that maybe can give them instant action on this, versus, it takes a while to build a team. It takes a while to build community. What's maybe one thing that they can utilize today?
Something that is really easy to do is literally just grab a pen and paper and write down exactly what you said. What are you good at? What do you suck at? And what are you willing to ask for help with right now?
That's right? It, yeah. And so I went to a TV show on entrepreneurship.
Dude, yes.
The Blog.
Right.
And that is exactly what they had us do. And it was very tedious. And I was like, why am I doing this? So we wrote down a long fucking list of everything that we have, all of the hats that we wear, right? And they had us cross off first, what do you not like to do?
Yeah. Cross
it off the list. Boom, boom, boom. 50% of the list is gone, right? I don't like to do all that shit, right? I'm not here to, I'm not a janitor. I don't want to clean my gym, right? So now the next thing, what are you not good at? Shit, okay. Now this is where it gets deep, because now you got to be honest with yourself, right? This is where that do-it-yourself beast will start to talk to you. And it'll tell you, well, you're not great at this, but, you do it better than some, or, oh, I'm afraid to pass that off. And so now that's the tough part right there. What are you not good at? So boom, cross. And all of a sudden, I'm left with 15% of the 100 things that I wrote down that I do. And those are my 15. And so what Taylor is saying is do exactly that. Open up that journal, write down all of your to-dos, everything that you do, and start crossing off. First off, what do I not like to do? Boom. What am I not good at? Boom. Now highlight those and go find somebody else to do it for you. So I think that's an amazing tool, and I think that that right there will start to allow you more time in your schedule, more availability to do the things that you are good at. You'll see your business thrive, or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Maybe it's not business, right? We're entrepreneurs, so our life is business. Maybe it's something else. But now you've opened up the world of that beast, of the do-it-yourself, and you start to see that, oh, things are actually going well. Oh, I delegated, and oh my God, my business is thriving. Oh, I've delegated, and now all of a sudden I'm not burnt out, right? And so now you start to adapt to, I do feel comfortable giving off these things to other people.
Yeah, that's so I would like to say that's like a better term to use. Delegating is used in business so much, but to me it kind of has a negative connotation to it, that you're telling somebody what to do. Right. It's about leading your team and trusting them to take on a role to help build whatever it is that you're working on. And delegation by definition is that, but it's what a leader should do to help other people take the lead in other things in the business. And words matter a lot. So like some people will be like, oh yeah, delegate, that's amazing, I like that. And some people are like, screw that. Like, what are you talking about? You don't do that. So it's really reading who you're working with and finding out what turns them on and being that leader. Like we talked about it on the run today, like not really being a boss, but leading a team and showing up for them and then letting them take control of the opportunities that you allow them to excel and succeed at.
That's great. I honestly think that's
Right
it
there,
right
right?
there.
So
Right? It's not about delegating necessarily. It's about leadership. It's about being the leader that you need to be in order to see your company or whatever, again, it is that you're trying, your sport, your whatever you're trying to achieve with full success. It's about being the leader necessary in order to instill in the others what you need accomplished, but being able to trust them that it can be accomplished.
And being a leader is the most difficult thing to be. I'm working on it big time. It's very, very difficult. And the relinquishing of responsibility and stuff, it's tough to do even still. Overall, being a leader will never, ever be easy. But just know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I agree.
I think leadership, it takes a certain kind of person, because you'll never get the applause for when things go well, but you'll get all of the backlash when things go bad. And so I think it's really important to know that a leadership role, you have to be able to face this inner beast. You have to be able to put the do-it-yourself beast aside and overcome it in order to come out the other side on leading a team to ultimately do the project that you need them to do. I mean, you think about these ginormous companies. The CEO does not do all the tasks that run this company, right? I mean, I work with a CEO right now in Newport, and I watch. I mean, he's the overhead, right? He's looking at everything to make sure it goes the way that it's supposed to be done. He's making sure his system that he put into play is firing at all levels. But he's not the one doing the marketing. He's not the tech guy. Right? So he's the delegation, or he is the leadership role that is trusting in his team to build it out. So I think that's where where the do-it-yourself beast comes into play. If you want to stay small, do it yourself. If you want to be that high-end CEO, again, living out to your fullest potential and reaching your dream, you eventually have to face this beast head on, and you have to start trusting in others. And with that being said, I mean, this inner beast has not only affected your life, but you've been able to overcome it. You've been able to accomplish it and come out the other side, right? And so I want to leave it at that. And is there anything else you want to share with the listeners that pertains to this inner beast?
The one thing that really comes to mind is something that I've been actually running through my head a lot is everybody has the potential for more. So in your head, just believe that you're made for more. Right? And what is that? And how can you start achieving that? And the DIY inner beast of just solopreneur or just the lone wolf, you are made for more, but sometimes you need people behind you, and you got to be able to ask for it.
Exactly. And you can't let...
I mean, we're hearing from one of the highest athletes, guys. And so if he faced this beast himself, you cannot let that lone wolf overcome your ability to grow, because if you allow this lone wolf to step in and you don't face it head on, you're not going to go far, and you're ultimately not going to live out to that full potential that we're talking about here. And so once again, I want to thank Taylor for coming on today. I mean, a very high respect for this guy, and I can only imagine where things are going for the near future for him. And so thank you again for being on. And if you guys haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and follow us on social media, The Beast Within, and never miss another episode. Share it with somebody you love. I guarantee you, if you're not the one facing this inner beast, you know somebody that is. So please, again, connect with us, follow, and be ready for more. Thanks again, Taylor, and looking forward to hearing from you in the future.
Gladly come back. Thank you so much.
All right.